All right, wow, you guys have really outdone yourselves this time. Reports on open source, malware, the latest on AI, even a peek into quantum computing. I mean, come on. We're talking Deloitte, McKinsey, the state of AI reports, even a deep dive into the ethics of AI assistance. It's a lot to unpack, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, imagine you're prepping for this massive tech conference. And the theme, of course, is the future is now.
Mm,
But you don't want to just be another face in the crowd, right?
yeah.
You want to be the one everyone's looking to for the real insights.
Exactly. So, no time for small talk today. Let's just dive right in to this mountain of info. Where do we even begin?
Well, I think the elephant in the room, the one everyone's talking about, is AI, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, and Deloitte doesn't hold back. Their Tech Trends 2025 report, they're basically saying AI is about to be as essential as electricity. Imagine that. AI powering our lives, like flipping a switch.
But it's not just about AI being everywhere. It's about the kind of AI we're talking about. Deloitte points to a rise in smaller, specialized AI models, doing very specific jobs. Think of it like instead of one giant Swiss Army knife AI, we're getting a whole set of specialized tools.
Interesting. So instead of one AI trying to do it all, we're going to have a bunch of little expert AIs running around. What's the advantage of that?
Efficiency, for one. And this is echoed in the 2024 State of AI report, which highlights the rise of distilled models. Yeah. Smaller versions trained from the big ones, but way more streamlined. And this could be huge for startups or anyone who doesn't have access to massive computing power. Suddenly, powerful AI is within reach.
That makes sense. But hold on, Deloitte also mentions data centers, potentially tripling their energy use in the next decade. Largely due to AI, isn't that a problem?
Absolutely, it's a massive challenge. But there are some interesting solutions emerging. Deloitte even mentions 3 Mile Island,
Yeah.
that infamous nuclear plant, being repurposed to power data centers with carbon-free energy.
Wow. Talk about turning a disaster into an opportunity. So we've got this AI explosion happening, but it needs a lot of juice. Makes you wonder if the grid can handle it.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of the AI landscape, there's another interesting development. The 2024 State of AI report shows OpenAI's dominance is being challenged. We're seeing a surge in open source AI models, which could level the playing field and spark even more innovation.
Okay, so AI is changing, the players are changing. What does this mean for, say, someone working in software development? Because Deloitte seemed pretty excited about AI's impact on IT.
Deloitte thinks this could lead to a resurgence of lean IT. Think faster development cycles, more automation, and potentially even citizen developers building tools. With the help of AI, it could fundamentally change how we build and interact with software.
Hold up, citizen developers. Does that mean anyone could build an app, even if they don't know how to code?
It's a possibility. With AI assistance, the barrier to entry could be lowered significantly. Imagine being able to simply describe what you want your app to do, and the AI helps you build it.
That's both amazing and a little terrifying. Suddenly, everyone's a developer. But before we get too lost in the AI future, let's talk about something a bit less flashy, but just as important: security. What have you got on that front?
The 2024 Open Source Malware Report paints a pretty sobering picture. There's been a sharp rise in attacks, and a whopping 67% of those blocked by Sonatype, or aimed at government organizations.
Yikes. Governments are usually pretty good at keeping things secure. At least that's what we're told. What's making them such a big target?
The report highlights something called shadow downloads, and a major vulnerability. Think of it like this. When developers grab software components from unofficial sources, it's like leaving a side door open for attackers. You never know what nasty surprises might be lurking in those downloads.
So even if you have strong defenses, this shadow downloading can bypass all that. That's unsettling.
It highlights how security needs to be baked into every stage of the process. From development to deployment, we're relying on increasingly complex software systems, so these vulnerabilities can have a ripple effect across entire networks.
Okay, now I'm getting a bit paranoid. We've got AI getting more powerful, but so are the threats against it. What about the everyday use of AI? Things like those AI assistants everyone's talking about.
The report, The Ethics of Advanced AI Assistance, dives deep into that very topic. It lays out the potential benefits. Think personalized education, creative tools that help artists and writers, but also the ethical concerns.
Right, because on one hand, having a super smart AI assistant sounds amazing. But on the other hand, I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know this could go very wrong. What are some of the concerns?
Well, there's the potential for manipulation and misinformation. Imagine an AI assistant subtly pushing biased information, or even being used to spread propaganda. And then there's the danger of us becoming too reliant on these assistants, trusting them blindly and losing our own critical thinking skills.
It's like we could become so dependent on AI that we stop questioning things
Right.
or forming our own opinions. That's definitely a slippery slope.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of access. If everyone doesn't have equal access to these advanced AI assistants, it could exacerbate existing inequalities. Imagine only the wealthy or privileged having access to the best AI tutors or tools. It would create a huge disadvantage for everyone else.
That's a really important point. AI needs to be a tool for everyone, not just a select few. And what about privacy? AI assistants are basically listening to everything we say, right?
That's right. And the report specifically calls out the risk of adversarial prompt injections. Imagine someone crafting a specific command designed to trick the AI into revealing sensitive information or even taking harmful actions.
So it's not just about protecting our data from the AI, but also protecting the AI itself from being manipulated. This is giving me a whole new level of tech anxiety.
It's a valid concern, and it emphasizes the need for robust security measures and ethical frameworks.
Yeah.
As AI assistants become more integrated into our lives, we need to be mindful of the potential risks, even as we marvel at the possibilities.
Well, I'm definitely feeling a mix of excitement and caution after that. AI is clearly a game changer, but we need to proceed with both eyes open. What other tech trends should we have on our radar?
It's clear that the tech landscape is evolving at warp speed. But what does that mean for someone like you, attending that Future is Now conference? Let's shift gears a bit and focus on the individual.
Okay, because it's easy to get swept up in all the big ideas, but ultimately it's about how this tech impacts our lives, our jobs,
Yeah.
even our sense of self, right?
Precisely. And the 2024 State of Tech Talent Report from the Linux Foundation offers some intriguing insights. Their survey shows a major shift happening. Companies are prioritizing upskilling and cross-skilling their current employees over constantly hiring new ones.
So instead of scrambling to find people with the latest, trendy skills, companies are investing in training their existing workforce. I guess that makes sense. Tech changes so fast, it's like a constant game of catch-up.
Exactly. It's not enough to just learn one specific skill anymore. It's about being adaptable and developing a wider range of abilities. The report actually highlights some surprising benefits to this approach.
Like what? I'm curious to know what's in it for the employee. Besides not getting laid off when the next big thing comes along, right?
Well, the report found that it leads to employees having more diverse skill sets. You're not just stuck in one narrow role. You become more versatile, more valuable in the job market.
That makes sense. Instead of being a one-trick pony, you become a multi-tool, able to tackle different challenges. I bet it keeps things interesting too, right?
Absolutely. And the report also found that upskilling and cross-skilling open up more opportunities for career advancement. It's a win-win for both the employee who gains valuable skills and the employer who gets to retain talent.
It sounds like a much more sustainable approach than the constant churn we often see in tech. But let's talk about the gorilla in the room, shall we? Generative AI. The Linux Foundation report dives into its impact on the workforce. It's the tech everyone's buzzing about. But I still feel like I'm playing catch-up. What's the big deal with generative AI?
Think of it this way. Generative AI can create things, whether it's text, images, music, even code. It's like having a supercharged creative partner. It goes beyond just analyzing data or automating tasks.
So instead of just crunching numbers or sorting email, generative AI can actually create new things. That's both amazing and a little scary. What does that mean for jobs? Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
The report highlights that generative AI is already being used for data analysis, IT infrastructure monitoring, and software development. And here's the kicker. Only 5% of the organizations surveyed have no plans to use it. Generative AI is going mainstream.
Wow, so this isn't just a passing fad. Generative AI is here to stay. But how do we make sure it enhances jobs, not replaces them? Because I know a lot of people are worried about that.
Well, remember that emphasis on upskilling and cross-skilling we talked about? The report found that developing diverse skill sets is the biggest benefit in this age of generative AI. It's about learning how to work with these powerful tools, not being replaced by them.
So instead of fearing AI, we need to learn how to leverage it. It's like the more skills we have, the better equipped we are to adapt and thrive in this new landscape. Kind of makes you rethink what it means to be future-proof, doesn't it?
Exactly. Now, speaking of mind-blowing advancements, let's loop back to quantum computing for a moment. Remember, this is the tech that uses those mysterious qubits to unleash incredible computational power.
Yeah, the whole Quibbit thing still makes my head spin a little. Like, how can something be a 0 and a 1 at the same time? It feels like we're stepping into the realm of science fiction.
It is mind-boggling. But the potential is huge. McKinsey's report highlights how quantum computing could revolutionize fields like drug discovery, material science, and financial modeling. Imagine designing new medicines with pinpoint accuracy, or making financial predictions that are light years ahead of anything we can do today.
Okay, that sounds incredibly powerful, but McKinsey also mentions some major challenges, right? We're not all going to have quantum computers on our desks anytime soon.
Right, the biggest hurdles are technical and financial. Building and maintaining quantum computers is incredibly complex and expensive. It's going to take time for this technology to become widely accessible.
So it's a long game, but one with massive potential payoff. It seems like every trend we're talking about requires us to be adaptable and constantly learning.
Absolutely. And speaking of adaptation, McKinsey's report also highlights the rise of robotics, machines that are becoming more autonomous, more dexterous, more mobile, thanks to advances in AI.
So it's not just about clunky robots on factory floors anymore. We're talking about smarter, more versatile machines that can potentially work alongside humans in all sorts of environments.
Exactly. Think about robots that can assist with surgery, explore hazardous environments, or even help with elder care. The key here is that it's not about robots versus humans. It's about finding ways for them to work together effectively.
Again, it comes back to that idea of adapting and learning new skills to collaborate with these advanced machines. But let's not forget about space, the final frontier.
McKinsey highlights the continued growth of those low Earth orbit satellite constellations like Starlink. They have the potential to revolutionize global connectivity, bringing high-speed internet to even the most remote corners of the planet.
It's like suddenly everyone has a front row seat to the digital world, no matter where they are. What kind of impact did that have?
Imagine the possibilities for education, healthcare, and economic development in communities that have been left behind. It's a game changer. And it also fuels innovation in other areas, like Earth observation and space exploration.
Okay, now we're talking about truly mind-blowing stuff. We've gone from AI that's as essential as electricity, to robots that can work alongside us, to technology that's connecting the entire planet. It's a lot to take in.
It is. But there's one more crucial element we need to consider as we navigate this future: the ethical implications.
Right, because it's not just about the cool tech, it's about using it responsibly. The ethics of advanced AI assistants really drove that point home. We need to make sure these advancements benefit all of humanity, not just a select few. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, robotics, space tech. It's enough to make your head spin.
It really is.
But before we wrap up, let's zoom out for a second and think about what this all means for you. Walking into that Future is Now conference, what are the key takeaways, the big aha moments you can use to really stand out?
You're right, it's a lot to process. But let's try to distill it down to the essentials. First and foremost, AI is the driving force. Behind so much of what we've discussed, it's going to be as fundamental as electricity, transforming how we work, live, and interact with the world.
Right. It's not just another tech tool. It's becoming the foundation for, well, everything.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's not about one giant AI calling all the shots. It's about those specialized AI models we talked about, tailored for very specific tasks, making powerful AI more accessible to everyone.
So it's like an AI. Instead of having one massive supercomputer in the sky, we're going to have AI woven into the fabric of our lives, working behind the scenes in all sorts of ways. But that raises a big question. How do we make sure AI is used for good, not for harm? Because we've talked about some pretty serious ethical concerns.
Absolutely. Transparency, accountability, and inclusivity are crucial. We need to understand how AI systems are making decisions, who is responsible when things go wrong, and how to make sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few. This isn't just a job for tech experts. It's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
Okay, so AI is a game changer, no doubt. But we need to be thoughtful about how we develop and deploy it. What's the next big takeaway?
Cybersecurity. It's no longer just a technical issue. It's a fundamental challenge in this hyper-connected world. The 2024 open source malware report really highlighted that, especially with the rise of those shadow downloads. That can bypass even the toughest security measures.
It's a constant arms race, isn't it? As technology gets more complex, so do the threats against it. Governments are being targeted, businesses are vulnerable, and even individuals need to be more vigilant than ever. So what can we do? How do we stay ahead of the bad guys?
It's all about building security into every stage of the process, from how software is developed to how it's used. And it's about raising awareness. People need to understand the risks and take responsibility for their own online security. Think strong passwords, being cautious about what you click on, and keeping your software updated.
Right, because it's not just about having the latest antivirus software. It's about being smart and proactive. Okay, so we've got AI and cybersecurity. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
Remember how all these trends are interconnected? AI is fueling the rise of robotics. Robotics is pushing the boundaries of space exploration, and space exploration is driving the need for even more powerful and secure technology. It's all a giant, interconnected web. And understanding these connections is key to navigating the future.
It's like we're on this incredible journey of discovery, and each new advancement opens up a whole new set of possibilities. But it's also a bit daunting, isn't it? How do we make sure we're prepared for whatever comes next?
Embrace the challenge. Be curious. Ask questions. Never stop learning. The future belongs to those who are adaptable, resourceful, and willing to push the boundaries.
I love that. So as you walk into that Future is Now conference, remember this. You're not just there to observe, you're there to participate. Ask tough questions, challenge assumptions, and contribute to the conversation. Who knows, you might just inspire the next big breakthrough.
Exactly. The future is what we make it, and it all starts with a willingness to dive in and explore.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, stay curious out there.